welcome to my channel. Well, this is just some random thoughts that I've had lately, and one of them was I was trying to do my little walk around, and because of the heat here in Texas, North Texas, you have to do your walking early. But if you do your walking really early, you're not going to get any vitamin D from sunlight, so it's kind of like a balance. Sometimes I just take the vitamins, but if you spend too much time indoors, it can lead to all kinds of things. So one of the things I saw when I was walking around is I used cop car. This is not it, but this will be like an example of it, all right? So if anybody has ever seen or experienced or knows about police work, is cop cars get abused, man. They drive over curbs, they idle for a long time, they go to high speeds. I mean, yeah, it depends on the maintenance of the department that they're in, how well they're maintained. But once they're released to the civilian market, you've got yourself a really used car if you look at it. And then, all right, let's go through the logic of this. You're probably not in law enforcement, but you're driving around a car. This one was a black and white that was out there. You're driving around a car that looks like a cop car, and so it's going to be treated like a cop car. And back in the day, that might have been okay, but nowadays, you're a target. I mean, if you're the police, man. So you're basically drawing a target on your back and getting unwanted attention without even doing anything, just sitting in the car. So, that's one thing, negative attention that you can get. I mean, some people probably get a thrill. Oh, look. My dad, this brings me back to when I was a kid, my father and I worked for a volunteer fire department for a little while. Not worked, but, volunteered for a fire department. And Dad had an old red Dodge pickup truck that he put on one side a big emblem, official-looking emblem that said U.S. taxpayer. And people treated him like a cop car or something official. A truck, a red truck back then. I mean, and we always thought it was funny. We weren't trying to impersonate law enforcement or anything like that. And when you're going to a fire, we had a little rotating red, dash-mounted light that we could put on when we were running to a fire, plugged into the cigarette lighter. But yeah, I just don't understand the logic of why a civilian would buy a cop car and keep it looking like a cop car. They don't have the emblems on the side that say the department and all that, or numbers and stuff like that. But still, that just gets me. That's one of the things. All right, another subject is health, and I'm not going to go through all of it, but first I got to give the disclaimer: I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice and all this other stuff. I'm just talking about as you get older, you're going to run into more issues, maybe issues you hadn't thought about. And a lot of people offset this, by getting regular checkups and going to the doctor and everything. All that. I don't do that. The only time I go to a doctor is an emergency. It's like if I don't go to a doctor, I'm going to die, or I feel like I'm going to die. And because of that, and at my age, I'm on no prescription medicine, which is very unusual. I mean, like 75% of the population is on prescription drugs of some type. Now, I'm not hammering prescription drugs and all that, but I mean, you look at the advertisements on TV and stuff, and if you or your loved one is taking Xylitran, contact the attorneys of, because it's been found to produce cancer, or, all this other stuff. And when they come out with a new medication, you listen to, now they're legally required to list all the side effects. But my God, sometimes the side effects are much worse than whatever you were putting on with. You got a little skin rash, or you tired of a little acne or whatever? Take this. Side effects may cause loss of bladder control, hair loss, cancer, heart disease, you know. Let's go through the whole list of, oh my God. You know, but then they show the people happy and bouncing around. Now that I've taken this new drug, I can go out more. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just kind of my side of my approach on things. I know it's not good. It's, you know, you should get regular checkups and all this other stuff. And then you get into self-diagnosing whenever you have problems and stuff like that. And it depends on how good you are at self-diagnosing. For example, the first time that I had a visual migraine where it's off to the side, it starts as a little C, inverted C, with like jagged edges on it of colors that just start growing and getting bigger and taking over the field. And the first time that happened to me was in New Mexico, and I freaked out, you know. I went, wow. I mean, it disappeared after a while. I didn't get a headache or anything like that. And so I looked it up on the internet, and oh my God. That's where you can run into all kinds of problems, because one of the first things it says is, well, you could have a brain tumor pressing on your optical nerve. I'm like, oh my God. And you go through all the stress and the panic and all the stuff of that, and then you read a little further and you find out that a lot of times it's common. Here are some of the things that could cause it and all this other stuff, you know. A lot of times it has to do with stress, and at that time I was going through a lot of stress. But that comes and goes from time to time. I write it down when it happens. As far as eyes also, man, my vision is really going. I've got floaters in both eyes, and my glasses I'm learning how to clean up. Yeah, I know I should go to a doctor, you know, and get my eyes checked and get new glasses. That would make a big improvement in my life. I don't know, I get inertia or something, or entropy, where I just stop and I don't do anything. And not doing anything is doing something. It's not, I mean, if you approach a situation where you can do X or Y, I usually pick Z, which is none of those, you know. I mean, so yeah, I don't know where this is all going. I'm just saying, I go through things, sometimes physical, sometimes mental, and it affects my ability to produce content for this channel. You know, like for the crazy and silly ones, I've got to be in a good mood. You know, I've got to be happy. I've got to be able to, you know, do this. And not doing videos when you're used to doing them is kind of like a withdrawal also. You know, I mean, like, if you're used to doing videos, to me, it's like I'm talking to my audience. You know, to me, it's not just like produce this. It's like as if you were there. I'm trying to, you know, have a conversation with you. And I know we can't have a conversation, you know, two-way because it's a one-way thing. But I mean, you know, that's kind of the way I approach things. And I'm not always going to be able to come up with brand new knives and stuff like that. I mean, you know, that's not my mission and stuff. It's just that whenever I come up with whenever I see a knife that I like, or, you know, think you might like, I'll show it to you. But I'm not going to, you know, constantly go out. I can't constantly go out and buy knives and stuff like this, brand new knives. There's all kinds of knives that I want to get, but, you know, that's just the thing that we've got to deal with. The amount of stuff that we want always exceeds our income, usually always. I mean, I went from, when I worked at Intel was when I made the most amount of money in my life. And I found out that having more money doesn't necessarily mean that you're, yeah, you're going to get more things and stuff, but I even had credit cards. I mean, I had all this income, and I had a credit card that had a $20,000 limit on it. You know, I mean, I didn't go up that high with it, but still, I could have charged it for $20,000 on a credit card. And I went from that to nothing, or basically almost nothing. I mean, I had my 401k, but that was it. And if you withdraw from a 401k early, you get double whammy. You get taxed on it was like pre-taxed income, and then you get penalized. And it's a triple whammy. And then that gets reported as income, which you've got to pay taxes on. at the end of the year. So, I mean, drawing off your 401k to survive is a quick way to lose your money. And I did eventually, you know, I withdrew it. I basically didn't have any money left, but I mean, I survived for 5 years off that. And I needed a break at that time. I used to be a good worker, a motivated worker and everything. And when I saw what Intel did, I mean, when you do everything that you can, the best of your ability, and you advance and you get promotions and everything, and then they have a layoff because they're sending their jobs to China. I mean, it just kind of like disincentivizes you for working. Yeah, I mean, the main reason is so that you have a roof over your head and something to eat, but yeah, that just kind of like, I had to take a reset after that. I was like, you know what? My thought was, I probably won't live to retirement age, so I might as well do an early retirement. And that's what I did. I basically did 5 years off of, I mean, I looked for jobs and stuff. It was stressful. I would not recommend going from riches to rags again, but you learn stuff from it. I learned a lot of stuff from not having money and how to get by on almost nothing. I learned a lot more than I did when I had money, when I had a lot of money. So I don't know where this is going, other than life throws you curveballs a lot of times, and it's all in how you react to it. If a situation comes up that looks bad for you, a lot of times those life-changing situations turn out to be some of the best things that could have happened to you. Later on, at the time, you look at it and you think, oh no, I'm getting a divorce, oh my God, my life is over. That was my first divorce. That's the way I went. I mean, I was to the point of ready to end my life because of it, because I thought I saw no future, you know, without my wife. And that's kind of a crazy way to be. You're that dependent on another person, that your, you know, life depends upon it. But you know, when you're young, you go through a lot of till death do we part and stuff like that. I mean, you believe a lot of the hype that it talks about, but marriage is really a huge compromise between two individuals. I mean, when it works out right, it can be the best thing in your life, but when it's not good and you're in that relationship, it can be worse than prison. You have no idea how bad it is to be with someone who doesn't care for you, but you've got to come home to them every night, you know? And it's like, oh my God, why am I putting up with this? After a while, eventually, I figure things out, but sometimes it can take me a while. Anyway, I just wanted to give you that little heads up. Things are going on in my head, and I'll try to produce more content and stuff like that. I just wanted everybody to know that there's nothing wrong with me that hasn't always been wrong with me. I'm kind of like functionally crazy, you know? I mean, like some people always react the same way to the situation. I usually don't always react the same way. Maybe not even the same way I did before. I learned when I was in the military that if you're slightly crazy, not crazy enough to, you know, deserve medical attention, but crazy enough that they won't just pick you for all the crappy details because you don't object and you're like a puppet, you know, which is kind of a thin line to ride in the military. You know, you can't be too independent and outspoken, but and same way with like crazy. You can't be too insane, but if you're just a little off, they'll pick somebody else, you know, for this stuff. And it's not that I don't mind doing work and stuff. It's just a lot of times if you don't say anything and you're in a squad or something, and they're always picking you for a crappy detail, if you don't confront your sergeant or whoever was giving you that stuff, say, hey, what am I doing to cause it? Why don't you pick somebody else, you know? They're picking you because it's easy, because you don't give them any lip, and they know that you're willing to do it, you know? Um, yeah, it's really a thin line to ride if you're in the military or in the nuclear program, because they have the human resource management type thing where they watch out for people that are crazy. They don't want crazy people, around anywhere near nukes and stuff like that. And I was in Strategic Air Command. You're naturally going to be around nukes in your job. But anyway, I wasn't that crazy. I've never been that crazy. I'm not crazy enough to hurt anybody else. It's just that I'm learning some of this stuff can be like when you get into a condition of stress, your brain can get to where this happens to me a lot. It won't let you go to sleep. When you go to sleep, it's too active. It's still talking to you. It's trying to solve problems. And that's just because of stress. There's something stressful going on that's causing your mind to be in a problem-solving situation all the time. And man, if you've ever had insomnia, it's torture, because you want to go to sleep. You need to go to sleep. Like you've got a job or something you've got to get up to. And you try to go to sleep, you're exhausted, and you can't. Your damn brain won't shut up. And how can you escape your brain? It's there. I mean, you could, tell it to shut up, but it's the one that's talking, I mean, so anyway, there you go. I've probably gone on a little too long. Too much information. But, yeah. There's no real big problem with me or anything. I just wanted to say that, this is why sometimes I don't produce as much content. And if you look at the amount of videos I've done and the amount of time I've been on, I usually produce quite a few videos. And when I don't, some people might get worried and concerned and everything. And just know that I appreciate the concern and everything. And sometimes I can't communicate, and I just have this block where I just shut off from everybody and everything, But anyway, that's all right. That's enough of my craziness. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.